Hey everyone, it's Jared from Drumeo, and today I'm going to teach you how to replace your drum heads. Now, why do you need to replace drum heads? If they're not broken, why fix it? Well, drum heads could have dents, which compromise the sound. Sometimes the coating can be worn away. If you use brushes or you need that coating for any sort of different sound or texture, that's gone. You want to replace it with a drum head that has the coating on it. Sometimes you just don't like the sound anymore. So sometimes you want a thinner head, or here is a little bit thicker of a head with some internal muffling. So there's many different reasons that you're gonna want to change drum heads. And so this video is just gonna give you a breakdown of exactly how I do it. Now, before we get into that, I want to talk about frequency. How often should you change your heads? I get this question all the time. And really, it's like my dad always says, how long is a piece of string, right? You need to know what piece of string. You need to know more details. So how long do you actually play drums every single day? How hard do you hit? What style of music do you play? There's so many different factors that go into when you should change your drum heads. But as a rule, I say if you play 30 minutes a day at a moderate volume, basic rock music, you could change your heads every 90 days, okay? And that's for your batter head. Now, for your resonant head, I would suggest every 2 to 3 times that you change your batter head, you go ahead and change the reso. But honestly, sometimes I don't even change them that often. So it's totally up to you and the sound that you're looking for. But every time you do hit the batter head, that resonant head is vibrating and it's stretching and it's getting some wear and tear. So you do need to think about replacing that, especially if you don't like the sound of your drums. I get so many messages on Instagram and Facebook and within Drumeo about people saying they just don't like the sound of their drum, but then they never change the reso head, or they haven't changed the batter head in so long. And the drum heads have such a massive effect on the sound, okay? It's way more than you think. So really take time to find those drum heads that you love the best. So let's go through the steps on how we're gonna change our heads. So we're gonna start with removing the original head. So let's just go ahead and take this off. I'll evenly detension each tension rod. Okay, so we have the tension rods all loose, and I'm just actually gonna take them out. I know some of you probably don't do this, but that's fine. So here, now we have our hoop, go ahead and take that, and we have our drum head, okay? Many times if you've played on a drum for a while, you'll find a bunch of wood chips on the edges, so just be careful that those don't all fall into the drum. And next is I grab my Drumeo polish cloth, product placement, available now. I'm just joking. I actually don't even know if these are for sale. So what I do is I like to take this time to just kind of wipe the edges of the drum and also polish the top of each lug. Because you got the head off, you might as well take the time to do this. Another thing I like to do is when the heads are off, I'll just, in case anything has gotten in there, I will just tip it upside down. And there you go. Now the head is ready to be put back on. Next, I will put the new head on, ensuring that the logo is perfectly aligned with you up there, so you can read that. And that's just like how I like things. I like the logo right here. Other guys have liked the logo here. FM Quibus likes the logo there. I like it up here, so I can read it nicely, otherwise I can't read it. And then what I like to do, especially for a new head, what I'll do is I'll put on the hoop, just like this. And then a lot of people will take their tension rods and just dip them in a little bit of oil. Tiny bit of oil. You do not need too much. And this will just help make the lugs kind of tune much, much smoother so that it's easier to get them even. And I'll put these back in and I'll start tightening them to finger tight, okay? So I've tightened the tension rods so they're each just touching the hoop. Next thing I want to do is I want to take my palm, put it in the middle, the center of the drum, fall down, and I just want to stretch that head. You're not going to break it. Don't worry about that. If you do break it, take it back. But also you don't need to put like 1,000 pounds on it. Now I want to tighten it as a cross pattern. So make sure I'm tightening each lug the same amount within reason. It's not as much of a science as something like tuning a guitar. where you are very much tuning to a specific note. Here we're basically tuning to a preference. How do we like our drums to sound? That one was a little bit loose, so I just brought it up a little bit more, for those of you wondering. So this is a feel thing, okay? Take your drum head off and put it back on 10 times in one day if you need to figure out how to exactly tune the drums and tension the drums. So here we're cranking it up. Okay, so I bring it up, especially on a new head, I'll bring it up very, very tight because I want to stretch that head out. Very tight. You might even like the sound of it very, very tight. Okay, so it's probably going to sound so it actually sounds really, really good. Taylor's in there just like, yeah, that sounds great. So now, if it was too tight, I would just bring it down to the tension that I wanted to get my desired sound. So that is how to replace the batter side head. Now the toms are exactly the same. You take the heads off, wipe the edges, put the new head on, make sure the logo is perfect, finger tighten the tension rods, bring it up nice and tight, let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes, then bring it back down to the desired playing tension. That is it. The only kind of anomaly here with replacing drum heads is the snare side head, the resonant head. So every drum is a little bit different, and I know when I first changed the resonant head on my snare, I couldn't get the snare wires back to how they were. So in this case, this snare drum comes with a system that you just pull these off, like that, and then you can take the head off and pop it all off at one time. Otherwise, you want to take note, maybe take a picture of exactly what the snare wires look like when it comes to how far this fabric is through or the string is through, to make sure you get it back to how it was before. Because the last thing you want is to replace the resonant head with the desire to make it sound better, but then it actually doesn't sound any better because the snare wires are either too tight or too loose based on how they were before. So in this case, I just clip these back on. And it's all done. For me, I put the resonant head tabletop tight. When it comes to the toms, I like the resonant head around the same tension or slightly lower in tension. This is just my personal preference. Everyone tunes drums a little bit differently. But that is how to replace drum heads. Replacing drum heads can be a fun experience or it can be a terrible experience. But I would recommend going through this tutorial, making sure you're doing everything correctly so it's a fun experience, because there's nothing like a fresh set of heads. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me in the comments below, how often do you change your drum heads? How often do you change your batter heads? How often do you change your resonant heads? Share in the comments. I'm sure everyone has a different opinion and a different answer, and that's what's so great about this community. So make sure your voice is heard. I'll see your comment down below, and I'll also see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Thank you.